welcome to Not All Fire. I'm Jude Evans,
And I'm Joe Hart.
and this week I'm in a slightly different Premier Inn. I am further. I'm not further south than I normally am. I'm certainly further west than I normally am. Different hotel. I don't work Premier Inn. Sorry to disappoint all the people who thought I might have done the other day.
You must have a sponsorship deal with them
today.
by now, though, Jude. You do the Premier Inn podcast every week, don't you? On a Thursday, comes out 9 o'clock.
I think it was. It was by Ninja J. Somebody was asking about Premier Inn, and he thought I worked for them because I talk about them all the time. So sorry, Jay. No, I just stay here all the time.
You should have a sponsorship deal by now. You're a brand ambassador.
I really wish.
No.
I swear the amount I stay there. My cold has almost got better. As well,
I was going to ask,
quite good.
you know, I've not spoke to you. I don't think we swapped a couple of messages, but I've not spoke to you since last week's recording. You were dying of death last week, right? So how did you recover?
I was dying of death. I went home. I didn't do very much for a couple of days. Chilled in the office quite a bit. Drank a lot of hot drinks. Night nursed it because I can't take day nurse or cold flu tablets anymore because they interfere with my blood pressure tablets, which is really annoying. No, I just seem to. I mean, I still think it's a little bit fighting. I still think there's a little bit of it's there in the back a little bit, but I should be okay. Yeah. But now I'm on a chemical plant. Doing chemical plant fire risk assessment. Slightly annoying because I came here 3 years ago, and so far they haven't done as many of the actions as I'd have liked them to have completed. But it is what it is.
Oh well, you're sounding good, and you're on your new mic setup. And next week I'll have the same kit as you because we bought this. Well, we're about to buy the same kit, right? So this will all improve the audio visuals of what we're doing.
Hopefully, I've got slightly better lighting than previously, and my microphone. What actually happened last week was my microphone ran out of battery halfway through, so I'm hoping that everything will last for the whole record this time.
Yeah, it was a bit shaky last week, wasn't it? Because it died.
It did die.
This week I'm just at home in my kind of study, and I've got my usual halo coming from the light. So I'm looking forward to having better kit as well next week, where I don't look.
No, it's great.
Very oppressive lighting. Yeah.
It's not one of those posh ring ones, I will say, that everybody seems to have. You know, the circle one that means you don't get glare or anything. But
is it not? You've not got an influencer set just yet, no.
No, I haven't. We're not quite there yet. But you've been working at home today. You've been working in the office today.
No, I've been in the office, just driven home. I was in London yesterday, Preston office today, do my little tour. But I'm in the office the rest of this week now. So usual routine of finish up 6 o'clock, drive home, take the evenings off. Broadly is what I'm going for this week. We'll see how successful that turns out to be.
So lovely,
doesn't it? Yeah, it's a new concept to me. Not working the evenings, but get this podcast done, take the dogs out. I'm doing all right. Can't complain.
And it's so lovely because it's light in the morning when we get up, and it's light when we come home from work, which is quite exciting at the
moment. Oh, so I was in London yesterday, and me and 2 colleagues went for lunch. And there's a terrace on our office on the 8th floor, and we're in Liverpool Street, so you get this amazing view. And I took a picture to send to the rest of the team just to say, hey, I'm outside, I'm doing this, but check out the view. And it was just the most gorgeous photo. The sun was coming through. And I kid you not, we had ice cream for lunch. Oh. We went out for a London. We bought some ice creams in this place in Bishopsgate. It was amazing. Isn't it? Like spring has sprung. It's so nice. Loving it.
It is. It's really lovely. Daffodils are out. Spring is. I think we've got International Women's Day on Sunday. And then the last Sunday of the month, the clocks change.
Yes, they do.
Already so soon.
Yeah, I know, right? Doesn't it feel like it was just Christmas? But yeah, isn't that lovely time?
Like, it's mad. It's quite mad. Which almost takes us to, and I need to double check the dates, but I'm pretty sure that this month is at some point in this month, and I need to check the dates, at some point in this month, the 2nd anniversary of us doing the podcast. So not only are we going to do our 100th podcast, potentially on the 1st of April, amusingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be the 2nd anniversary. We'll be doing this for 2 years, Joe.
Isn't that good? I did take a swig of wine as you said that, just to calm the nerves of the idea of 2 years of a podcast. I'll tell you something cool, though, a nice little personal nod. My first ever day as a fire engineer, as a graduate, many, many years ago, was on the 1st of April. So that'll be the anniversary of me doing this for a career as well. So that's a nice time of year for me. Nice. It'll be a good day.
Yeah, I was going to say the 1st of March is the anniversary of when I started working at Rowan's. So now it's 14 years.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
That's 14 years.
Anniversaries. When?
No,
What we do for our
no, it must be
100th
15
episode?
years. It must be 15 years. 2012. Goodness me.
2000.
Anyway.
Yeah. What's the plan for the 100th episode, Jude? How are we marking it? We're going to try and get
I
together,
think
but I'm not
you're
sure it's going
going
to align, is it?
Yeah, I think you're coming to my house
Might try to, yeah.
on that Tuesday, and we're going to record in person.
That'll be lovely, won't it? I'll bring cake.
Stunning.
Stunning. Well, one thing I need to ask of you tonight, Jude, before we get into the fiery stuff, because there is loads of fiery stuff.
There is.
Now we're a video podcast. What's the rule on drinking wine during the recording? And I asked the question for a very valid reason. One, because I've opened a bottle of red.
Drink wine.
Well, yes. I'll tell you what. I'm sat here on my own in my study, but some bugger keeps filling up my glass. It's terrible. I can't stop them. But bloody hell, they keep going. When we switched to the video podcast, I forget who it was, but somebody commented and said, "Oh, I'm excited to watch this show on Spotify now or YouTube, or whatever, just to see how often Joe refills his glass." And I think I must have said in a previous episode, "Oh, that's annoying me. I'm going to fill a glass of red." So whoever that person was, I forget who you were. I'm grateful for your comment. And tonight, hey, you can see it live. You can watch it. So what's the rule, Jude? Do we have to blur it out? Do we have that rating on YouTube? I don't know what we are.
I don't think so. I don't think we need to. I mean, you're not advertising the brand, so.
No, but if you're sponsored by Premier Inn, I could be sponsored by Trevento Private Reserve Malbec from Argentina. I'll take any brand deal, to be fair. Oh, well, bottoms up then, Jude. Eh? Bottoms up. Happy podcast.
Happy podcast day indeed.
Right,
so, yes,
let's get into it.
It's very, very fun. So what have we got to talk about today? I've got two bits of... Yeah, you've got breaking news. Let's do breaking news first.
I do.
You've got breaking news. I don't know what this is. I've literally been on a chemical plant from 8:30 till 5 o'clock, and then I went straight to dinner, and now I'm doing a podcast. So I've not seen anything.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to pull it up then, because I teased you with it before we came on air, and I said, "Did you hear this thing?" And you've not heard it, so I get to break this to you. It came up this morning, first thing, on Construction Inquirer, which is a website I check every morning, which is really valid source. I really like it. Here is what's happened, Jude. So I'm going to read live, and I'll be able to pull it up on screen, I'm certain, as I'm reading this. So the BBA, the British Board of Agreement body, has had its own accreditation suspended as of this morning, and there was a press release on their website. Okay, so I'm going to read this word for word as I've read it in the press. Okay, there's no opinion in here. This is purely what I've read. So the British Board of Agreement, also known as the BBA, has had its accreditation suspended and cannot currently issue safety certificates to building products manufacturers. The BBA is construction's leading independent certification body, with its approval logo seen as demonstrating fitness for purpose and compliance with building regulations. I'm going to skip a little bit, not for any particular reason, other than I'm not going to read the whole thing. But towards the end of the article, the BBA has now confirmed on its website that its UCAS accreditation has been temporarily suspended. It said, on the 26th of February 2026, we were notified that UCAS has instigated a temporary suspension of the BBA's accreditation status due to a change in corporate structure in 2025. This means that at present, we are unable to issue certificates under the accreditation status. So that's happened this morning, but seemingly backdated to the 26th of February. So this has been kicking around for a week or so. So big news for me.
Well, yes, because they check and confirm that products that are coming in are correct.
Yes, absolutely. And that is a badge of honour to have a BBA certificate. So to have a certificate that says this product is suitable means it has been through a really rigorous process. It's been reviewed. It may have been tested even. They have testing labs at Watford, as I understand. And it has that badge on it. It's like going to a supermarket, picking up a piece of meat with a red tractor on it. It's that third-party accreditation. So for them to not be able to have their own accreditation status suspended by UCAS is enormous. And the only thing I will talk around...
Anything of theirs?
Well, that's the question for me, because I have active projects where I'm relying on BBA certs. How far back does this go? Is this a temporary suspension for new products, or is this for anything issued in the last whatever period of time?
4 months.
Yeah. It's the wider context to this, I suppose, is that at the moment we've just had the government have issued their latest update on their Grenfell Phase 2 inquiry, kind of recommendations and how they're acting on them. I think that came in the end of February. which was 12 months since the last one. It's just a periodic update. Really interesting to go through regardless. But one of the big themes running through that is about construction product regulation and how important it is. So I read that at the weekend, and 2 days later I come into work. Morning, guys. Yeah, all right. I'll just check construction inquiries over my morning coffee. Bloody hell, the biggest certifiers can't certify anymore. Where's this come from? It seems completely at odds with what's happening in the wider industry. It's huge. So we don't know the details, but there's a big impact to us in the industry. Huge news.
So UCAS said that it was down to a change of.
So, in fact, let me pull up the BBA website. And again, as I'm talking about this, we can probably do it on screen for anyone who's watching. For anyone who's listening, I'll read it in full regardless. So if I go on to British Board of Agrimont, I noticed that on the front page of their website, they had a press release on this, as you would expect. And let me read that word for word again. It's only a couple of lines. So, big letters, temporary suspension of UCAS accreditation.
Wow.
On the 26th of February 2026, we were notified that UCAS has instigated a temporary suspension of the BBA's accreditation status due to a change in corporate structure in 2025. This means that at present, we are unable to issue certificates under the accreditation status. The issues identified are administrative only in nature, concerning company documentation, and do not in any way relate to the organisation's competency or ability to function as a certification body. And then the last part, work continues as usual, and we do not anticipate this temporary suspension having an impact on the overall certification process.
Oh, so basically somebody messed up the paperwork, maybe.
Oh, but I mean, first of all, if I'm an organisation going to a third party and their job is to check my paperwork, I'm looking at this with squinted eyes, firstly. And secondly, we run businesses, Jude. How important is the detail when you've got you've got your ISO 9001? How much do you hammer into the guys? Look, I know you can't be bothered to do your timesheet and save your emails. I know it's a pain in the arse, but you've got to do it for this reason, because I don't want to ever have to write a press release. So, it's big news. Huge.
Wow, that is really big news, actually. I think it's trying to pretend it's not big news, but I think it is big news.
I think it's a very well written press release. Don't get me wrong, from the BBA. I think it's not completely captured in the Construction Inquirer article, which doesn't mention their quote about it's administrative only. Regardless, it's come at an unfortunate time, given how much scrutiny is put at the moment on construction products regulation and the white paper the government have just issued about that as well. And, a big push towards making sure products are certified appropriately. We look to the accreditation bodies. I'm not in any way insinuating the BBA not doing their thing. It looks like there's an administrative thing. But regardless, right now is their chance to steer the industry, isn't it? To make sure that they're where we need them to be. So, it was a bit of a shocker reading that this morning.
Gosh, that is quite a big thing.
Yeah. So
and for UCAS to turn around and say, we're taking it away from you, it means that maybe UCAS have gone through maybe like UCAS have done an audit of their systems and have gone, hang on a second, or maybe we didn't get all the information that we perhaps asked, so therefore we're going to have to suspend them.
Well, I've just had an audit for ISO 9001, which is the quality standard.
Quality one.
But for my business, and you get a couple of recommendations. You could do this different, you could do that. But I spoke to the assessor, and we did really well on it, because it's such a high thing for us. This isn't a boasting part, but it's important to us, so we make sure that these audits are easy. I said to the guys, we should never worry about an audit. It should be an easy thing.
Yeah.
And I said to the auditor, I said, is there anything that's a straight red card? Is there anything someone can do and it's like, I need your badge today and I'm going to tear it up in front of you. Your certificate's coming off the wall. And they said, it's a process. If you make an error, we'll say we'll revisit, and it'll be, if it's a high risk one, we'll be back tomorrow morning, fix it tonight, pull an all-nighter. And if it's a little bit more lenient, okay, we're back in 30 days, 60, we'll assess it again next year. They said there's no straight red cards. So I'm surprised again to see that there maybe isn't a process, or they haven't actioned things along the way. But, we don't know details, so.
No. How interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
so hidden in there, I mentioned another thing which we're not going to touch on tonight. I hadn't said we were going to, but about the government have released their sort of annual update on how they're progressing with the Grenfell recommendations. I haven't reviewed it in full. I presume you haven't. It's only just come out, but we will touch on that in over the next couple of weeks. But it is worth a read. I've thumbed through and seen the headlines, and Yeah, some good stuff in there, but we'll do it in more detail in future.
Definitely getting on the right way. I've got something I want to talk about, which I think is quite interesting, which it's kind of passed us by, which is really daft considering that we both work in school so much. But on the 26th of January this year, the Department for Education issued a technical manual on employers' requirements for technical requirements for the design and construction of school and college buildings and outdoor environments. And you go, oh, that sounds like something that we deal with quite a lot. Well, basically, it's part of the employers' requirements for the construction framework 2025, and it will be reviewed 12 monthly. But what is very interesting is that it's going to be part of a document suite for all sort of construction and for technical queries and building works. The specific section that obviously interests us is, with the exception of 9.1 being fire safety, it outlines the scope on the opening page and adheres to following guidance. But section 9.1, fire safety, and I'm reading from my screen over here. Section 9.1, fire safety, follows the structure of the Building Regulations 2010 as amended. Fire safety, approved document B, volume 2. This gives clarity to navigate DfE's fire safety requirements and to ensure consistency of application and compliance. So you go, well, that's interesting, but haven't we always used BB100? So, fire performance requirements. Projects shall be designed and constructed in accordance with the requirements of 9.1 fire safety of this technical manual, except where there is an explicit requirement to follow a particular part of ADB, volume 2, or BS 9999. The use of BB100 2007 version is no longer required.
Okay, and what is the latest version of BB100? Is that 2007?
2007.
Is it really?
Yep. Yeah, this one's been banging on about it for ages. So,
yeah.
Obviously, it then also says if you want to do a fire safety engineered approach following 7974, you can. It provides an alternative route to compliance for more complex buildings. But where this approach is proposed and agreed with the employer, all fire safety requirements outlined in 9.1 shall also be met.
So if I were to pick up a school tomorrow and design it, and that's something I'm going to be doing tomorrow, I'm working on schools.
I'm doing at the moment, yes.
Yeah, we all are, so many of us.
Yeah.
Is this saying the guidelines from the government, from the Department for Education, I presume DfE is saying to no longer use BB100 and to use the approved documents and 9999?
That is my understanding of this document.
Bloody hell. All right, well, I need to redo what I've been doing the last few. When did this come out? I hope it came out this morning.
26th of January. So,
bloody hell. Right.
So thanks, Chris, for finding this, because we were looking into some other bits and pieces relating to Ascend School that we're doing some work on. Yeah. And you came across this and went,
Is this Chris in your team?
Yeah.
How long has he been a fire engineer? A couple of weeks?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Well, Chris, your promotion's in the post. Jude told me you're getting a pay rise for this one and a promotion, I think. Good work.
We're waiting to hear back from your team about whether he's going on the May date. But yes.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, he is. He's also CEO of my business now for that catch. Fair play. No,
I know, but yeah,
honestly, so that's huge.
I know, because you looked at it and you go, hang on a second. But it doesn't say, all it says, that's literally what it says. The use of BB100 2007 version is no longer required. Now, I'm sure, and I'm going to double check because it's on the government website, which I did have up a second ago. BB100. Gov. BB100. Let's see what the latest date is. Well, that's a government consultation. So there was a government consultation in 2021. BB100. School. Crown copyright 2007.
Interesting.
There you go. That's straight from the government.
It's worth helping any listeners who find themselves lost at this point of what BB100 is and how it differs. Because obviously, if we have a decision to make between, let's say, BB100 or approved document B, to highlight the difference and why they are, materially different documents. Yeah. So
Well, BB100 is specifically designed for schools in mind. Now, the government has released a number of building bulletins that refer directly to specific schools. BB100 is designed for fire safety in schools. BB104 is for managing SEND schools. And there's various other building bulletins. And basically, it specifically highlights things like if you want to use, and this, I'm literally going to paraphrase Chris because he sent me some information earlier. If you want to use your central corridor of your upper floor as a mix of classroom space, cloakrooms, as well as circulation, you can do, because you class that as your room, and then you class your classroom off it as inner rooms, providing they meet criteria such as less than 60 pupils, have fire doors, have fire alarms. So you can have your building in a slightly different design, as if it were for a normal office block, for example.
Yeah.
In the same way that you use the HTM guides, the health technical memorandums, for designing hospitals and healthcare premises.
Yeah. And the nice thing with that specificity in the guidance is, whereas approved document B would apply to any building from a zoo to a theoretically a school to a resi or whatever, it doesn't have that specificity of, if you have BB100 has a thing about notice boards in corridors and posters on walls and stuff, which has
voice
that nice
voice alarms for kids.
Yeah.
So there's lots of really good detail about how you design a school.
Yeah.
And how
absolutely.
you meet different criteria.
Yeah. I'm doing two schools. Two schools at the moment. One's a heritage, so I've used 9999 anyway. The other one, interestingly, I was in a meeting with Building Control a couple of weeks ago and said, what can we use as our guidance here? And they led me to ADB. I wonder if they knew something I didn't.
Maybe that's why then.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. God, yeah, that's huge. I quite like guidance that's specific, something that gives you detail. Like in a hospital, I'd never use anything other than HTM, because where else am I going to get guidance about piped oxygen systems into theatres?
I know.
You're only going to get that in HTM. But I do always underpin, or I use that to supplement my base guidance, which is often for me 9999 or 9991. So yeah, it might steer it. For me personally, if it steers us in a slightly different route on the sprinklers, it might be helpful. And that's the only thing that springs to mind, because I only learned this before we came on air tonight, is ADB or 9999 would be more lenient on sprinklers. It would remove the requirement for it, whereas BB100 was always quite strict that the sprinkler assessment usually led to sprinklers regardless.
Yeah, however, there is guidance for various special needs schools and extra care schools to have sprinklers. Special schools and special colleges, they call it, don't they? So but it's hard, and we still don't know about Oakhampton. We've not seen anything else in the news. Oakhampton was the school that burnt down weekend before last. We've not heard any more information about
Dorset, somewhere down there. Was it Devon or Dorset?
Oakhampton, Devon, I think. But yeah, there's lots of good guidance in it. It's it talks about progressive horizontal evacuation for non-ambulance special schools and special colleges. It talks about dead-end corridors. Escape over flat roofs, obviously not allowed. But there's lots of different. There's lots of just good guidance about different types of school. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Good catch. So how big's Chris's pay rise, and what's his new job title? 6 weeks in, and he gets a catch like that we've missed. What do you reckon?
Super duper trainee fire engineer. Actually, we're going to a site on Thursday up in Middlesbrough, Chris and I, and he's going to lead doing a retrospective fire strategy, and I'm going to sit there in the corner and do some emails, much as you used to do in the back with Jack.
No, yeah. My neck of the woods, Middlesbrough. Like it. Good part of the world.
Yeah. So going up there to do some. Just spend the day. I can't imagine it'll be massively long. It's only about an hour and a half north of us, really. So it'll be a good trip up and back. So
very good. Well, that's a nice piece of information. Like that one a lot. Missed that myself.
What was your other piece of information?
Well, it's not news. I've got a technical piece to bring tonight that we can do as an explainer, which we try to bring in occasionally, often led by questions. If someone says, can you help me understand this? We cover it on the show. This is what I've brought myself, which is about the 45-degree rule. Which,
yes. Two different directions of exit.
Yeah, and we have I feel like it's come up on the show because a lot of things have. I was going to say most things have, but over the 90 something episodes we've done over the last 2 years, we've touched on things. But now I want to lean into this medium of it being a video podcast. And that doesn't mean that you have to watch the video and you'll miss out on the audio. But on the video, I have the benefit of pointing and saying, look, if you look here, this is what I'm talking about. But for anyone who's listening, I'll still do it in full. Because this came up in a meeting for me today about the 45-degree rule in Proof Document B and how we design to it. And I think it's just, over the years, it's one of the things I've heard misquoted the most and misused. Not intentionally, it's unclear in the guidance. And I wanted to bring it tonight and explain it a bit and see if we can make it a bit clearer. Because
so do you want to start then by explaining to all the non-fire safety people who listen and all the people who are starting their careers?
Yeah.
What is the 45-degree rule and what does it refer to?
Very good question. Little sip of red to get me stuck into it. So the 45-degree rule correctly applied is thus. If you are measuring a travel distance and you have to decide at what point you have a point of choice, at what point you are suddenly available, you suddenly have 2 exits available to you. So if you are trying to determine the point at which you're no longer traveling in a single direction, you apply the 45-degree rule. So if you have 2 exits available to you and they're at least 45 degrees apart from where you're stood, you have an alternative. If one of those fires is blocked or one of those exits is blocked by a fire, it's determined that the other one is accessible to you because you can travel more than 45 degrees tangential from where that first fire is. So that's the way it works. It's a travel distance tool. It's about determining when you're no longer in a single direction and you have multiple means of escape. It's quite straightforward. It's a very simplified model, but it sort of works. If you sort of consider you're walking out of your bedroom, and as soon as you get into your hallway, I don't know. No, it's a terrible example.
If you're in a classroom and you walk out of a classroom and you've got an exit, one to your left, one to your right, that's 180 degrees. So you've got 2 different directions. They're 180 degrees.
Exactly. And the way to think about it, that's a much, much better example. Because who's got 2 stairs in the house?
All right, posh boy.
I got halfway into it and thought, oh, I haven't. I'm not saying I haven't. Bloody hell. When you think about it, always put yourself in the mindset of, I'm in this classroom. I can only walk to one exit. Therefore, I've got one route, single direction. Once I get outside, if I'm in a corridor and they've got 2 exits, they're 180 degrees apart from where I'm stood, importantly. Cool, that's fine. Now consider yourself stood in the middle of, or in the corner of a room, like a sports hall in that same school. Where are your exits? As long as they're 45 degrees apart, you've got a point of choice. You are in a point of choice, right? So that's the correct version of it. Where I see it wrong and where I've seen it incorrect today was in a fire strategy somebody had written. And I've picked up the scheme later on. I was working with the client and we were reviewing this previous consultant's work, not looking for errors. We're not point scoring. We were just saying which bits don't we agree with. And the bit, unfortunately, was the reference to the 45-degree rule in the discounting of exits by just saying these 2 exits are closer than 45 degrees, so we'll discount both together. And we pulled up in the meeting Proof Document B and read it, and I can see why it might be inferred that way, but I want to explain why it doesn't work for that reason. And it's because of the point I keep making about where I'm stood.
Yeah.
So if I'm stood there and it's greater than 45 degrees, I've got an alternative. But consider you're stood in the middle of a sports hall and you've got an exit at one end and an exit at the other. Those exits are separated by 180 degrees, right? Because I'm draw a line between the 2 exits, put me on that line anywhere, I've got 180 degree separation. But if I move a few feet forward,
if you move 3 miles in that direction, they're going to be closer than 45 degrees.
Exactly. You can get it so that if you go stand in the corner of the room, those 2 exits can be within 45 degrees of each other. The exits haven't moved. The building's the same. It's where you move to. And it's because it's a vector. So if you have 3 points and you have a movable point on there, it becomes a vector. And it means the angle can change based off where that one point goes. And if you consider that one point to be a person, in any environment, depending on where you're stood, you get a different view. And that's why it relates only to travel distance, because it's you moving, right? So think about that example if it ever comes up. You're in the middle of a sports hall. If you go stand in the corner of the sports hall, those 2 exits, even on the opposite sides from each other, are probably less than 45 degrees. Now, if you erroneously apply the guidance, you might say, I'm going to discount both of those. Well, that doesn't make sense. They're opposite sides of the room. If you go and stand in the middle of the room, they're 180
still
degrees
180
apart.
degrees apart. Yeah.
So the 45-degree rule is very often thrown out as it appears in loads of guidance. I get it back from consultations. I've seen it in another consultant's work today. I'm obviously not naming that person. I'm not reaching out to them. That's not the point of this exercise. It was me advising my client. If you're doing travel distance, apply 45 degrees. It helps determine your point of choice. That's great. Don't use it for an occupancy calc. It's irrelevant. It's not useful because
one door is one door. Doesn't matter. I mean, if the doors are next to each other, yeah. But
yeah. And then it's not a degree of separation. It's just proximity to one another. Could a single fire knock them out? You might say a fire reasonably would occupy, I don't know, 2 meters squared. Okay, are they within a couple of meters of each other? Yeah, probably a reasonable single fire could knock them out. It's not a degree of separation at all. So
I think it's very rare that when I've been doing travel distance calculations. Yeah, I think it's very rare. Also, no, when I've been doing occupancy calculations is what I meant to say then. When I'm doing occupancy calculations, it's very rare that I will turn around and say, I'm going to knock out 2 exits, because invariably they're not normally close to each other. So
no, exactly. Where I'm sat now at home, I've got 2 doors, one to the kitchen, one to the living room. If that chair was on fire, yeah, reasonably they could be knocked out. You'd do it. But in commercial buildings, it's rare you get that kind of like door clash that you'd have going on in a private house. So yeah, it was unfortunate. I saw it today, and they'd said because these 2 exits are less than 45 degrees, they're both going to be discounted for travel for occupancy. And I just looked at it, and immediately I just knew that whoever had written that hadn't quite considered this idea of a vector and somebody moving, and had misapplied the guidance. Benefit of the doubt, the guidance is a little unclear. That happens in guidance sometimes. You've got to think around it and think beyond. So
the arguments that I've had with people about ADB. Oh
I mean, another one I've had today, and that's the end of that anecdote anyway, so I can move on. Point back from building control, it doesn't meet approved document B. My colleague Bassett, who sits opposite me, how do I respond? I said 2 words: we know. It's not supposed to. That's why you've employed us. We know it doesn't work. It doesn't meet guidance. That's why we've written a fire strategy. Read it and give us some comments back. Yeah, happens a lot.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I've got something I want to talk about, which popped up on just a random Facebook group that every now and again I look at.
Yeah.
And it's relating to a fire that happened in a school in January 1908. So,
Blimey. A couple of weeks ago, then.
Read pretty much the story as it was posted on the Facebook word.
About episode 1 or 2 was that, Jude, of this show, 1908? Did we cover it live at the time? Was it breaking news?
I mean, breaking news, guys. On the 10th of January 1908, Wickford School in Essex burnt down. A neighbour who was working in his garden noticed smoke coming from the thatched roof and raised the alarm. The headmaster heard the excitement in the street. He went outside and saw the roof was ablaze. Obviously, no fire alarms back in those days.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The children were led outside and sent home. The school registers were removed to a place of safety, and workers from a nearby building site came to help remove the furniture. The Chelmsford Fire Brigade were summoned. School's on fire, come at once, Wickford. Unfortunately, as it was unsigned, it was not clear who would pay, so they did not attend.
Oh.
The Billericay Fire Brigade responded, who are probably only a couple of villages, or a village the other way, Chelmsford further away. The Billericay Fire Brigade responded. Their horse-drawn manual engine was preceded by a man on a bicycle for part of the journey, so it said, to clear the way. Right. Children came from a school at Crays Hill. It's quite steep at Crays Hill. Children came from a school at Crays Hill to help push the engine up the hill, but when they heard that it was going to Wickford School, they went back to class.
Right. Oh, wow, okay.
By the time the brigade arrived, there was nothing left but the brick walls and some window frames. It wasn't known how the fire started. A new school building with a slate and tile roof was officially opened on the 29th of September, 1909. What I'll do is I'll send you the photograph of the very burnt out school with various Edwardian people in hats standing in front of it, because it's a great photograph. Yeah. And you can pop it up on the the video of the podcast.
Cool. Of course, yeah, we'll get the guys to do it.
So I wanted to talk about that because, funnily enough, obviously, in the olden days, it was all insurance.
Yeah.
My video seems to have flicked. Am I still okay? Yes.
You still look good? Yeah, all fine.
Thank you very much. I'm just looking at both of us sideways because I don't understand tech.
If
Yes,
it was still an
obviously.
audio podcast, I'd ask them to cut out the bit where I say you still look good, Jude, just for fear you'd screenshot it and soundbite
Yeah,
it to me
yeah.
in future. But unfortunately, alas, it'll have to stay in.
We can't cut anything out of this, sadly. Yes, obviously in the olden days, fire brigades were insurance led.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I think the most some of the earliest, if we go all the way back to Crassus, which is one of my favourite stories, we'll come on to, I'm certain. But some of the earliest like innovations in firefighting were by insurance companies to protect
Yeah,
their asset. So some of the
yeah, yeah.
first fire appliances were built by, funded by, and operated by insurance companies, which is
Yeah.
remarkable, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
So yes. So, but I think that was brilliant about the fact that Chelmsford didn't know who was going to pay for it, so they didn't bother
Yeah,
attending.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then, and then when Billericay horse-drawn carriage couldn't get up the hill,
Yeah.
as I say, it is quite steep there. When they couldn't get up the hill to Wickford, the kids from the local school came out until I realised it was the other school that was on fire and went, "Oh no!"
Yeah, yeah. Well, there are. I did a job in London many years ago in a place called Queen Anne's Gate, which is just next to Buckingham Palace, just as you come out St James's Park on the right hand side there. And they have some really high listing statuses, as you'd expect. And one of the listing statuses for an adjacent building, not the one I worked on, was for an old insurance plaque on the front door.
Oh
And they used to
yes,
put plaques up to
insurance
say we have
plaques on.
fire
So
insurance.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they're
Fire brigade
beautiful,
come. This
beautiful
fire
things.
brigade come to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the fire service turn up and they go, building's on fire, they see their plaque and go, right, we'll get in there and do the job. If they turn up, there's no plaque, they start going, see your paperwork, make sure we're going to put the right, we're actually here to put the fire out, which is remarkable, isn't it? But the
Who's
earliest
going
fire
to
services were insurance driven. It was a private sector. If you pay money into the pot, if you have a fire, we'll come put it out for you. Yeah.
So what year did the fire service become nationalised then?
Oh, I don't know, but we have done it on this show before because there was an anniversary of it. So in a
Oh
previous
yeah, there
episode,
was,
we've
wasn't
done a thing, if you remember, where we said the first Metropolitan Brigade, which I want to say was in Scotland, maybe from memory. I don't know off the top of my head. Late 1800s, early 19s, I dare say.
But that was why I was like, that's quite interesting because this was 1908 and they were obviously still privately paid by insurance companies.
Yeah. Remarkable. And my favourite story that I have, it's one of my favourite anecdotes, is the story of Crassus, who was the richest man, they believe, in history,
Oh yeah.
who during early Rome was a huge landowner, because what he would do is he had his own private fire service, which is believed in history to be the first ever fire service, purely a private entity. He charged people and said, if there's a fire, we will come and put it out, and he would charge ground rent for that. And in ancient Rome, fire was a huge problem. I mean, I've talked about that, and part of my research is about that. But he became the richest man in Rome because he would turn up whenever there was a fire, had people smelling the air. There's fire. Crassus, get the appliances out. All bucket brigades and horse-drawn whatevers. He'd turn up and say, "Do you pay insurance to me?" And they'd go, "No." Oh no, they'd go. If they said yes, he'd go, "Cool, I'll put it out. There you are. You spent your money well." If not, he'd buy their house off them. And he'd say, well, it's valueless to you. It's on fire. I'll buy it from you anyway. Then he'd put the fire out. He's got a free house. And so there is an allegation as well against Crassus in the ancient text, which is not only was he the richest man in Rome, he was also the first serial arsonist we ever had, because allegedly he would set the fires so he could go, and he bought up great swathes of Rome. But yeah, early fire services were private entities and they were insurance led. It's well known, well documented. Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a good case. That I like that.
Yeah, it was just really nice. It was just really nice to sort of see something that was fairly local to where I do a lot of work down in Essex. And so yes, it's those the kind of I love those kind of socio-economic stories where you kind of understand something burned down and then something was replaced by that. So the fact that obviously the school was originally had a thatched roof. I mean, can you imagine having just talked about schools? We're going to build this school with a thatched roof.
Well, yeah, that stuck out for me for that story as well. Yeah. I was having a really good chat today with a colleague who she's doing her master's degree at the moment in fire, but she's from an architect background. She's one of the engineers in my team.
Brilliant.
I'll say, Mia, it's you that I'm talking about here. You'll know anyway, but I don't know if she listens to the show. I don't like to talk about people and not tell them, hey, I'm going to mention you tonight. But Mia, here's your shout out. We were talking today about her dissertation, her thesis, what she wants to do.
Ooh.
And because she has an architectural background, she wants to talk about design of buildings and how fire feeds into it, which is I think is a great idea.
Oh.
We were talking today about form and function. Which one comes first? So is it how the building looks or is it what it does? Which one should be designed first? So if you design function, you say, okay, my school needs to be rectilinear, corridor in the middle, classrooms. I need to have a void between them. So if I stand on the top floor, I can see down to the ground. So a single teacher can work 2 floors.
Every classroom has an exit out onto the ground.
All that stuff.
Floor.
Yeah. That's very functional. We're designing that. Same with prisons. You want a central tower with spines coming off it so you can stand in one spot and observe the whole spot. But then how do you bring form to that? How do you architecturally design it so that it's built sensitively and does the right thing? And she wants to write her thesis, which I think is an amazing idea, Mia, as I told you this morning, about form versus function and how we can bring fire into it. The example we want to use is the Great Fire of London. So when the Great Fire of London happened, clearly the city as an entity didn't perform very well because 75% of it burned down. But then how did they rebuild? So the Rebuilding the City of London Act, they decided we're going to use stone instead of timber because it's not functionally possible to just widen every road. We'd lose 20% of housing, but the population's growing. So yeah, I love those discussions. We've got some really cool. It's at the moment it's dissertation and thesis season. So everyone who's studying and people I'm supervising, we're working with are coming up with ideas. So it's a nice researchy time. So yeah,
I'll tell you what,
that work,
there's another one that's really interesting, and I was watching. I want to say I was watching an old Harry Bikers traveling around Southeast Asia. So Sai and I can't remember the guy's name now.
Dave and Sai, is it?
Dave and Sai, yeah, because it was.
I met him once.
Because it was the anniversary of Dave's death on the weekend after 2 years ago, wasn't it? So yeah. So
they performed in the theatre that I worked at, and they wanted to come on stage on their motorbikes, and we said no because you might set the fire alarms off because they had these massive big bikes. They did a live cookery thing, and they said in no uncertain terms, if the literal fire on stage we're cooking with isn't going to set it off, I don't think our bleeping motorbikes will either. And there was a big hoo-ha. I didn't work in fire at the time. I worked backstage. I was loving it. So yeah, funny. Good guys. I like them a lot.
Yeah, anyway, no, they're good. So do you remember we had that massive fire in the name of the place? We had that massive fire in Asia a few weeks ago in the market, and we talked about how many fires. Now, see, I listened to a load of episodes last week, so it's been sometime this year.
I was going to say Hong Kong. I thought it was the high-rise resi market.
No,
rings a vague bell. Yeah. I can't remember where it was, but
the big mall.
Yes,
the big mall in the 7th largest city in the world.
Thailand, was it somewhere like that? It rings a vague bell. Anyway, yeah.
You've got your poor memory, my menopausal memory. We're a brilliant team about things that we've done like more than a week ago.
Thankfully, I no longer edit this show. The people that do edit it are great, and they'll be able to put a little screenshot now of exactly what that fire was. So let's nod and smile, Jude, and go that one and point.
That fire.
That's the one. Good work, Nadia and Kirsty. Thanks for putting that in for us.
They're doing so well with the video.
They are.
I've not watched any of them yet, obviously. So they were walking. We were talking about the density of the number of shops inside the mall, and about how there must have been so many shops, and there were all of these places. Now, Dave and Sai were walking around somewhere like Thailand or South Korea or somewhere like that, and of course, you walk down a street and there's a room that's in the street, but it's like 2 meters squared, and there's somebody sitting there with a massive big pan of bubbling oil cooking something.
Yeah.
And it's the same as the person. And I was sitting there thinking, my God, that's why it's like that. Because in those cities now, and I'm sure they were saying that somewhere like in, I don't know whether it's Hong Kong or one of the big cities over in Asia, it's a bit like America. They don't put kitchens in houses anymore because everybody eats out. Because the quality of food is so good and the variety of food is so good, because there's so many of these tiny little shacks that just do one thing really, really well. So you go and buy one thing from there and you buy one thing from somewhere else. And that's where you've got the massive issue in the mall of the fire hazards.
Yeah.
Because if you think about, if you've got 20 meters of buildings, and you've got 10 individual little shops that are all 2 meters squared backwards and widthwise, and you've got everybody's frying and cooking with oils and all of this kind of combustible material and ignition sources. No wonder you're going to get fires every now and again.
Absolutely, yeah. And I worked on one in Bradford just last year. Me and a colleague worked on it, and I remember them saying they had a shopping mall and it backed onto a service corridor. So the service corridor's there, and you got the shop frontages, but all the shop frontages was just open. And we said, how big are the units? And they said it's all flexible partitions because people might buy a bigger unit, smaller unit, and a lot of them were 2 meters squared just for food. Or you could open up and get 2, 3, 4 of these units and have seating in there and stuff as well. And one thing I've seen on that sort of environment you mentioned there, because it's a part of the world I'm desperate to visit, and I haven't. I really want to go to India, but I want to go for a month. I don't want to go for a weekend. I want to experience it. I've never been in my life. Is that very often they back onto people's homes, don't they? So people live in the back of them as well. So you've got that risk of a sleeping risk and literally a family, and at the front they've got a shop, like a retail space as part of their home, and it's
or somebody doing nails, or somebody doing lashes, or somebody doing hair, or somebody as a tailor, and you've got cloth and you've got fabrics.
So, no, absolutely. Well, we know now because it's been on screen a minute ago when they edited it in, but that bloody fire, I can't remember. I'm annoyed because I like to remember these case studies from this show.
All I can think of is my sister's going to India in a couple of weeks, and she's going for a couple of weeks, and she went through last night all the different places that she's going to, and so all I've got in my head is Jaipur, and I know it's not that. So because that's one of the cities that they're traveling through, but yeah. So there we go.
That sounds like a great trip. Well, I've got just one last thing to drop in at the end of this end of the show, if that's all right. If I've got a minute or two, which I think I do. I didn't check when we started.
I've got no idea. I've got no idea of time.
We had a false start tonight again, Jude, because you I'm sorry to say, but you cocked up the intro again, didn't you? It's getting worse.
I'm still very tired, and I've had a very long day. And you said, "Okay, we're recording," and I literally just launched into it with no time for cooking and editing at the start. So sorry.
We're getting worse as we get closer to that Hundo episode. We're getting worse and worse and worse.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it?
A couple of very quick things to plug. It's not commercial whatsoever, but all of my previous talks that I've done for the IFE have appeared on YouTube in the last week, and they're all now freely available, which I'm really proud of, because we do a webinar series. So a thing I host outside of this show is a monthly webinar series for the IFE. It's always free to attend, but if you're not there live, you don't have to be a member to attend. But afterwards, it only went on the IFE hub, so you had to be a member to see it. And we've been pushing and lobbying a little bit to say, look, can we just get access to it? Because we want to keep that openness even when the show finishes and we go out and we can do it. And we've been able to get access. So they've all gone onto YouTube. So there is a big backlog of really quite technical webinars. They're not like this show, which is very informal and chit chat. Hey, I'm going to pour the red and how's your week? It is all technical content, start to finish. They've all gone up on YouTube.
I'm gonna say they are quite good. Not to blow Joe's trumpet too much. He does have guest speakers, but they're quite good.
We do have guest speakers, and they're always better than me. But regardless, we do every month we put some content out, and they're now all available. So recent webinars I've done: Introduction to Fire Strategies. I've done Heritage Fire Safety.
Heritage Fire Safety was very good. We liked that one.
Yeah, Lightning Protection. Introduction to DZIA. All sorts. They're an hour and a half each. They're a bit of a slog. Trust me, if they're a slog for you, imagine what they're like for me. But they're good little. If you break them down, you can go through and get some good stuff. And I'm also doing the next one next week as well, which is Introduction to CFD, which I think is going to be our biggest selling. Although we don't make money, it's all free to attend. So we've just had to increase the tickets because we've gone over 400 again. We're going to shoot for 5, maybe 600 people on it. It's always hundreds of people. They're amazing. They've done so well.
Yes,
so,
they have been very, very busy. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
A couple of years ago, I used to do these to 30 people, and now we've got 600 people turn up to them. They're huge. It's so much fun. But I thought I'd mention that because it might be of use to some listeners. It's always nice to increase the numbers on that show as well as this one. So yeah.
I remember you getting really excited when there was 150 people to the FRAEW one that you did down on Southern Region.
Oh yeah. When we did that, I think my first experience of doing webinars was for that branch, not my own branch now. And the first one I did 30 people and I was over the moon. I was like, 30 people have sat and listened to me for an hour. And then we broke over 100 for that one. And now we are 600.
Oh,
I am excited for the day, and it will happen. I'm certain. We don't know when. Where I get over 1,000 people, or we get over 1,000 people to a webinar. It's a group effort. I do a lot of the talking, but there's a lot that happens behind. But we'll get
yeah,
1,000 people on a webinar one day.
that's
That'll be a
amazing.
good day. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
that's
next week, next Tuesday. I think I'm doing that. So you can find it online, and I don't know, wherever we post these things, I don't really know, but you'll find it.
LinkedIn
Check
normally.
that out. Something like that. Yeah.
We're trying to reignite Northeast Midlands branch at the moment. I'm very trying to have meetings with the chair, the vice chair, myself, and various other people at the moment. Is like herding kittens, and I'm basically speaking to everybody individually.
Yes.
Until it's so hard, so hard. So
yeah. Well, the thing with these as well, touching on that and what I've just said about my branch, which is Yorkshire and Humberside, so we're neighbours, aren't we?
yeah,
We don't get paid. We're all volunteers. I've got a committee of 8 people. They're all volunteers. We don't get paid for the webinars. We pay for our own membership to Teams and Zoom to get the people in. It's a big commitment. It's the same for you guys. You've got a committee of a similar size, I think.
yeah,
And all the stuff you do, it's all voluntary, isn't it? So it's a
volunteer.
big old commitment. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're good. But it's a bit like us doing this podcast. It's for education. It's for the good of our industry. So yeah.
Hang on, am I not getting paid for this, Jude?
No, you're absolutely no, you're not actually.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
I did pay Kirsty some money for it today, but that's because I believe we have to pay for things like Spotify. So
yeah, we do. This show actually costs us, doesn't it? Because we have to pay the host and pay the editors and all that good stuff. But we do it for the love, Jude. We're still enjoying it. It's good going. Nice.
So what am I doing next week? I'm back in Essex next week, I think. It's just busy at the moment. It's just there's a lot of things happening.
Traveling a lot, aren't you? At the minute, on the road a lot.
Yeah, I was hoping to be more in the office this week, and then I had to go to Hull first thing Monday morning, and then we're going to Middlesbrough on Thursday. Getting for all of those people who've asked that I've driven in the last 3 months, I am getting the crack on my windscreen fixed on Friday.
Oh, you drove around with a crack the whole time?
Driver safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I finally managed to get my crack sorted out. Not the way I wanted to end the podcast, but
that's staying in. That's staying in for sure. Well, I've got something cool tomorrow. I've just we're launching kind of formalizing a couple of services in my business that we're going to give for clients. One is compartmentation and fire door surveys. So I've got a trial tomorrow where I'm doing a survey to make sure our processes are robust enough. So I'm out on site tomorrow doing that. And also fire extinguisher servicing, which we do for some clients, but it's kind of expanding a bit. And I'm doing that as well tomorrow on site. I'm actually installing some extinguishers, drilling them into the walls and swapping them around.
Be very careful to check for asbestos before you drill into the walls.
I'd never heard of that, Jude. What's that? After we learned from my external wall survey a couple of weeks ago, where I nearly died.
Asbestos, it's a thing.
So I'm on site doing some surveys tomorrow because I want our processes to be slick, because the biggest thing that kills that service offering, I've discovered through bitter experience, is actually reporting afterwards. Because if you go out and do too many surveys and you sleep and you've just got 1,000 photos, your compartmentation, your passive fire, your door surveys, and your extinguisher records, it's a bloody headache. So I'm trying to get that slick tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that.
Here's something I'm buying, and I'm literally just I'm getting it delivered on Friday morning, which I'm very, very excited about.
Oh yeah.
I have got a 3D mapping tool for measuring buildings.
Are you going to start producing floor plans?
Maybe.
Dude, if you do that, I've got so much work for you, because I get asked all the time. I don't know where to start. But that, if I could launch a business now or a new service offering that was around industry need, it'd be bloody producing floor plans, because nobody's doing it, and so many people need it. So get that going, and I'll pay you a fortune, honestly.
Well, you may have to, because it is quite expensive.
Yeah, I can imagine. To be fair, I can imagine.
I'm not buying the really expensive piece of kit that I think my accountant would prefer me to buy for tax purposes. That's £25,000. I'm not spending that much money.
Yeah.
I'm buying a slightly more affordable one. But the thing is so what's really interesting as well is the software. And as I say, I have bought it, and it's being delivered on Friday. I'm going to have a play with it. It does a scan of a room, So it does a
Mm.
video room, and it does all the measurements. So you can use it for walkthroughs. But what you can also do is you can go, I'm going to point it at that smoke head. I'm going to point it at that fire extinguisher. I'm going to point it at that call point. All of that data goes to someone in Canada/Australia. They then create a DWG drawing. So quite a lot of money. And it comes back to you. Here's your DWG. Here's where the doors are. Because the problem that we do an awful lot of, we've done quite a lot of markups for this, and we go out and we measure with a hand tool, and it's a nightmare, and I hate it. Fortunately, we've got a really good CAD lady who can translate my scribblings into drawings. But if we can get something that scans a room exactly, like if I'm sitting here in my little hotel room and it's got its kind of a little cutout bit for the toilet, and you can scan it and get all the measurements correctly. Oh my God, how amazing would that be?
Yeah. Jude, I'm about to become your biggest client because I get asked for it so often. I don't even know where to start. It makes
Honestly,
sense it would be a software or a camera that would scan and produce plans, but how many times do we go to sites and they just, where's your floor plans? We haven't got them, or they're not accurate. It's a huge offering. Yeah.
I mean, literally, if it works, I mean, I've bought it. I've just quoted on a care home, and I've got it for. There's a couple of other schools that I'm going to do it for. As daft as it sounds, the most expensive bit is taking the imagery, sending it over and getting the pictures drawn, because that depends on the size of the building. But if it works, I mean, I absolutely will sing its praises, because my goodness me. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited for that. It's not something I've ever wanted to go into because I don't understand it well enough, but could use that as a service. My word, I get that so often.
I know. No, well,
sounds good.
We had it with one of the school. Come on, brain. One of the academy trusts. They contacted a surveying company who did it, and they mapped it all out. But how cool would it be for you to turn around and go, "Oh yeah, so I can give you your drawings of your building, but also here's a 3D walkthrough."
Yeah, so powerful. Oh, I'm jealous about that. I'm excited to hear how that goes. I want to know all about it.
I will absolutely feedback next Tuesday, when we will be recording after you've delivered your CFD presentation.
Is it the same day? Oh, I hate those days where they're double stacked. I will be exhausted next week because I always am after these. Yeah.
Unless we record it on a Wednesday.
I'll do it Tuesday. Be all right. I'll just be a bit kind of zoned out, and as always, a bit like
Nothing
I am this week.
new there then. Do you know what? It's good, and I think actually, do you know what? Why not? It's a great surveying tool.
Yeah. And there's a massive industry need for it, because anything retro. I mean, how often are plans out of date? The biggest. I think we're running slightly over, but I want to talk about this because it's important and it's relevant. I looked at a similar system a couple of years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, and it was a camera you take in, it scans, produces plans, etc., and it was hugely expensive. They said it's the same camera that goes on the top of Google cars, and I was like, I don't need that. Like, that's not for me. It was a big sales pitch. It was a good bit of kit, don't get me wrong, but it was thick end of 100 grand, not for me. But the business case I developed when I was considering it was actually for construction site monitoring. Because if I can come to your site and walk around every month, I can actually track the progress that you have, and off the back of your partial plans I produce, tell you how close you should be to the final fire strategy. Things like, oh, you've made a meaningful start on the external walls. I need you now to start putting internal compartmentation in. So it was a tool against HSG 168 for me, about actually what do we do during construction, which is a huge opportunity to use that. Imagine going and doing a scan, and I nearly mentioned a brand there, but I don't know what you're using, so I won't. But imagine going and doing a scan of it during construction and correlating that to Planning Gateway 3. So knowing at what time and at what stage things were installed, and when things are hidden behind ceilings and walls at the final construction stage.
You don't even need to take photographs, because someone's been popped a thing in the middle of a room. It's done a 360 spin. Here's your image.
I'll just come scan you every month, and then when the BSR starts saying where are your caveat barriers, I go, oh, hang on, that's scan 4. I've got it. Yeah, it's there. That as a service by itself is a business you could hire 10 people into. I mean, you could buy that kit, hire 10 people, and start doing it tomorrow. Like that is a business.
That might be worth buying the 25 grand piece of kit for. But
true enough. Yeah. No, it's a great idea. And do you know what? It's tech and innovation in construction, which I'm all about. That's what I'm trying to push.
when I was chatting to the salesman about this, and we will end on this, he has just sold it to a load of fire investigators because they bang it in the middle of a fire investigation. It does a 360 scan. You've got pictures, you've got images, you've got detail, you've got measurements.
Love that. Great application for it. Fair play to that sales manager. He's doing a good job.
He did he did a big. I spoke to him literally after he'd just done a day of presenting to fire investigators. So yeah.
Oh, amazing feedback. I look forward to hearing about it.
Yeah. I absolutely guarantee if we do, if we manage to, if I get it delivered on Friday like we're planning, I will be playing with it all weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for that listener who said they wanted to watch so they could see how we crack on with the wine, I'd like to thank this week's sponsors, Trevento Private Reserve Malbec, of which I've had about a third of a bottle. So that's only one large glass, isn't it? I've been topping up my one glass.
You're doing well.
But yeah, this week's sponsor. What I thought we'd do is we just start saying someone sponsored the show, even if they haven't, in the hope that eventually they catch on and they just go, do you know what, we'll send him a case. So this week it was sponsored by my Argentine Malbec.
Can I be sponsored by Cadbury's cream egg dairy chocolate bars? You know the chocolate bars that are the dairy milk Cadbury cream egg ones? Quite like those.
Play. Let's just start chucking sponsors in. Even if they haven't asked. Love it. All right, Jude. Fun as always.
Time to go. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for watching.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Joe. That's been lovely.
It has, hasn't it? I will see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday, guys. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, guys. See you later. Bye now.